My channel rarely deviates from the 8 and 16-bit Nintendo systems, and well, it makes sense. I grew up on those systems and still continue to play and enjoy them today. But a large part of my teenage years was focused on PlayStation and PC games, which I don't cover nearly enough if you ask me. After I graduated from high school, I got sucked into the world of Tamriel, specifically the Vardenfell district of Morrowind. The Elder Scrolls III easily became my favorite game of all time, and it retains that title to this day. I figured since it recently turned 15 years old, it was time to finally speak up about it on my channel. A few weeks before I graduated from high school, I was hanging out with a buddy of mine over at his house. He wanted to show me a game that had just come out, The Elder Scrolls III Morrowind. He was a fan of the series since the first game, Arena, but this was all brand new to me. We created an orc mage and ran around the swamps near the starting area and punched some mud crabs. I didn't really get to play much beyond that, but I was enthralled. I had to have the game. My brother had just picked up an original Xbox, and when the game was released on console, he got it. After playing a bit of it myself finally, I decided to get it for PC. And alas, my PC barely ran the damn thing. So I convinced my dad to get me a new computer before I started college. I learned how to install a new graphics card so I could see those beautiful pixel shader water graphics. Morrowind largely contributed to my failure in college. Stay in school, kids, and I eventually joined the Army as a communications specialist. When I got to my unit, all the fumbling I did with computers to get Morrowind to work helped me secure my position as the IT guy for my unit, which led to my current career. So, yeah, thanks for the career, Bethesda! Morrowind is huge. I mean, so big that after literal hundreds of hours I put into the game, I still find new things to do. I didn't even get around to completing the main questline for the second expansion pack Blood Moon until 2007. Of course, I played other things, but Morrowind was an on and off obsession for me. I largely stuck to one character, and by the time I had finally finished playing that character, I finished questlines for all factions except for the Thieves Guild, House Redoran, and House Telvanni. I don't even have that character anymore, though the Dunmer named Tony, with every skill maxed out, will remain a legend. The funny thing is, I've never finished the main quest more than once, nor have I tackled any of the expansion content after finishing it with good old Dark Elf Tony in 2007. I've started playing through the game countless times, however, with various different races and classes, only to finish a few faction quest lines, including the ones I missed my first playthrough, and do some exploring of areas that I had kind of ignored before. Honestly, I'm okay with that. These play sessions kind of serve as self-contained stories for those characters that I made specifically to tackle, say, House Telvanni quests. One of the biggest draws to Morrowind is the ability to mod the game. People have added new graphics, animations, quests, items, and everything under the sun. I do enjoy messing around with these, but for the most part, I enjoy the developer's original vision and just play vanilla Morrowind. It's the most fun for me. I love the awkward character models and those original water effects. Lately, I've gone back to Morrowind again. I had just played through most of The Witcher 3 for the second time, and I was starting to reconsider what my favorite game of all time was. The Witcher 3 is damn good, and I love everything it brings to the table. But after delving into Vardenfell again, I can safely say Geralt's adventure doesn't hold a candle to the Nerevarin's quest to defeat Dagoth-Ur. I've gone back to another Dunmer character, this time a Mer named Darius Onassis. I made up a story about how he grew up in the Imperial City in Cyrodiil with Imperial parents who adopted him at a young age. He got involved with the wrong crowd and ended up getting arrested after a botched burglary job that ended up killing his guardians. So sad. After rotting in prison for years, he was mysteriously shipped off to Morrowind on a prison ship, and his adventure began. Darius has a chip on his shoulder and isn't above thievery and murder, but he draws the line at slavery. Any slaves he come across he will save at any cost. He's currently working his way up the Thieves Guild and House Lalu ranks before he decides to start working for the Imperials who imprisoned him all those years ago. Of course, newer Elder Scrolls games have come along. I similarly worked on my PC skills to get Oblivion to work well, and Skyrim I ended up playing on PS3 before finally building a new gaming PC early last year. And while I really enjoyed both of them, trust me, this 80 plus hours of game time on my Steam copy of Skyrim is probably only about a third of what I played on the PS3. They never really struck that same chord in me. Morrowind is so much more technical in its gameplay, and it never holds your hand or tells you how to complete your objectives. It's just so completely open-ended in comparison to the later games. I love Morrowind. It's my absolute favorite game of all time. Getting lost in it and finding new discoveries 15 years after it was released just makes it stand out so much more to me. So here's to you, Morrowind. Here's to another 15 years of adventuring and punching mud crabs.